Today in Astana, we are honored to welcome the Chief Executive Officer of US Triathlon, Ms. Victoria Brumfield. Her trip is connected to the upcoming international triathlon event taking place in Burabay from June 13 to 15. For the first time in Kazakhstan, the event will feature a new format of children's triathlon. This is a unique partnership between the USA and Kazakhstan in youth sports, and we speak with Ms. Brumfield about the future cooperation, the importance of sport development, and what personally inspires her in her work. Thank you very much for taking your time to be here with us and answer our questions.
Of course, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My first question will be regarding the upcoming competitions on 13th of June, right? In Burabay, there will be a competition on triathlon between in children's sport, right?
Yes.
In children.
Yes, it will be a youth triathlon. And so it's in partnership with the Scouts and the Kazakhstan Triathlon Federation.
Wow. Okay, then why did you decide to support the development of triathlon among children in Kazakhstan, and what role does USA Triathlon play in this
Well, as we all know, the youth are the key to any sport being successful. And in the United States, we focus very much on our youth triathlon all the way through to the Olympic and Paralympic athletes. And so just like the Kazakhstan Federation, it's important to us to make sure that the sport is strong and developing. And in the US, we've developed a merit badge with our Scout program. So the young kids making sure that they have access to the sport. And that's something that they're doing here in Kazakhstan. And we're here just to observe and support and encourage them in their investment in youth triathlon.
Okay, so the main aim is to improve triathlon in Kazakhstan, or just to improve and develop the sports sector among youth?
Well, our focus is on triathlon because the sport of triathlon, it's so wonderful for kids to be able to learn the life skills of swimming, biking, and running, and then that cumulative accomplishment of doing all three at once. And so we think that's really important for kids, for their confidence and their development. And that's something that Kazakhstan is already invested in as a sport, but making sure we're here to support them and helping understand how do we grow the youth triathlon in the country.
Is there any plans to organize something like this, but for adults?
There are adult triathlon races in Kazakhstan now. So adult races are actually more common than youth. So people like you and I can participate in the sport. And so those races actually exist here in Kazakhstan already, but making sure that it's not just about you and I having the opportunity to race, but it's about the next generation having access to the sport.
Okay, thank you. And why did you decide to to engage children and young people specifically? So you said that it's for their future, right?
Yeah.
But maybe anything statistic information regarding children in Kazakhstan, or probably the problems with health throughout the world?
Well, I think you just named it. With the problem with health is that we need to make sure that more young people are getting outside, off their phones and out into nature, and making sure that they're really experiencing the world around them with their friends in a way that they can develop these life skills and hopefully take that with them throughout their lives so that they can live a healthier, happier life. The other thing that we found is triathlon is wonderful for communities because when you participate in sport, oftentimes it's in a gym or it's in an arena, but you don't get to actually experience the beauty of your surroundings. And the wonderful thing about triathlon is you get to swim in the lakes and the rivers and the natural resources and bike on the roads and run in the parks. And so it's a wonderful way to really experience your community and bring people together and experience nature.
Okay, I agree with you. It's a good opportunity to discover all three types of sports and make a decision which one is better for them, right? Okay, how does this new format, which is going to be of competition, which is going to be in Burabay, is different from traditional triathlon competitions?
So what's unique about this competition that's coming up is that it's open to anyone, but it's in partnership with Scouts. And so we've actually, in the United States, we created a merit badge for the scouts where they can get certified in swimming, biking, and running, and they'll get a multi-sport merit badge. And so my understanding is that's something that they're looking to roll out here in Kazakhstan as well, which is a great way to not only introduce youth to the sport, but to make sure they have all the education so that they're doing it in the healthy and safest way possible.
I see. So you said something about merit badge, right? What is it exactly? Can you elaborate?
So it's essentially when you develop a skill with the Scout program, you get a badge to certify that you have been approved as sufficient in that skill. So the skill that they're giving for a triathlon is called Multisport because it's 3 sports, swim, bike, run. So multi-sport, and you'll get a badge as a young person to certify that you are qualified to participate in the sport.
Wow. So do you know anything about upcoming competition? I mean, how many children will participate in the event?
So my understanding is it's pretty large. So there's 2 categories. There's the youth version, which I think is 15 and under, and then there's the junior, which I believe is 16 and above. And it's something like 500 kids between the 2 age groups, which is a lot of kids participating in the sport, which it really speaks to the culture of Kazakhstan and the appreciation for sport.
Wow, that's a huge event.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about USA Triathlon Federation, right? How does USA Triathlon support young and aspiring athletes, right? Especially from small towns, from underserved communities.
So USA Triathlon serves all of the United States for triathlon, and our biggest challenge is it's a huge country, and so there's a lot of areas where the sport is strong, but there's a lot of areas where people just, as you said, don't have access to the sport. So something we're doing with help of our donors and supporters is going into small communities and helping to develop that programming so that young people can have access to the sport, because it is a challenging sport to get into. You need access to a pool, you need bikes and helmets, and then the ability to run. And so that's something that we are supporting, is buying equipment, working with local community centers to help create that programming so that kids can come in and do a 12-week program with their friends after school. And so that's something that we're starting to see success in the United States.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Are there any plans for cooperation between our countries, between Kazakhstan and the United States, in the development of triathlon, or maybe just overall sport?
Well, so World Triathlon is the world federation that sits over all sport, and they're very invested in making sure that developing countries in the sport have access to resources to help build up their programs, not only at the grassroots level like youth, but all the way through to the Olympic program. So making sure that Kazakhstan is represented in the Olympics and the Paralympics. And so USA Triathlon is part of that whole development program. And I think just us being here is a demonstration of our support to make sure that we can help support where we can with education and resources. And so, for example, we're bringing here the 2 women who work on the youth program for us to help support the local event, to make sure that we can help provide feedback and ideas of ways they can improve as well.
Exactly, and even our interview is also a kind of support for the development of triathlon.
But we're also here to learn. I mean, there's so much we can all learn from each other.
Exactly, I agree with you. So you lead one of the most influential sports federation in the whole world, I would say. Yeah, what personally inspires you in this work, and what does this visit to Kazakhstan mean to you?
Well, I'm a triathlete, so what I love most about my job every day is being able to work with people around finding the opportunity to participate in the sport. And the sport has given me so much meaning and purpose and confidence in a way that I didn't have before I found triathlon. So being able to pair those 2 things together personally and professionally is my greatest joy. And my experience in Kazakhstan is this country is beautiful and the people are wonderful. And I think any time that you can add to a culture an opportunity to increase health and wellness and that endurance sport opportunity, I think is just a wonderful addition to the Kazakhstan culture.
Of course, yes. And also another question that I cannot but ask. Yeah, you are the first woman.
I am.
To serve as CEO of Triathlon, US Triathlon, right? How important is this role for you, not only as a leader in sport, but also as a female figure, like a role model, right, for women in leadership and athletics?
Well, what I've learned, and I'm sure you experience this very often in your position, is that just being present actually matters. That all those little girls out there that didn't know that they had this as an opportunity for them professionally, just by seeing you, they now understand that that's an opportunity for them. So in our organization, I was the first woman in my position, but just by being in that role, our organization now has more women in roles of leadership in our organization. And our focus now is making sure that we have more women participating in the sport. In the United States, we have more men than women in the sport in general. So about 60% are men and about 40% are women. And what we want to see is more equity, 50-50. And so this is just part of making sure we're showing what's possible for more women to participate in the sport.
Exactly. And probably the last question, what would you suggest to Kazakhstani youth?
Just go out and try it, because I think sometimes the sport seems more intimidating than it really is. If you think about it, as kids, you're already doing triathlons. You're swimming with your friends, you're riding bikes with your friends, you're running around on the playground. And all triathlon is putting those things together into one event. And so you're already doing triathlon. Don't be intimidated and get out there and try it with your friends.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you, Victoria, and wish you all the best and enjoy your time here at Kazakhstan.
And thank you so much.
The success in all your endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was an interview program. Thank you very much for watching us. See you next time.